Good evening, Android programmers out there. Welcome to my Patreon account. You are here at patreon.com/androidstudio. This tutorial is a ListView tutorial. It's about putting the code for the search function to filter our list. Actually, this video is a part of the 3 videos that I have uploaded at YouTube about ListView. The first one is the basic, and then the second one, viewers have learned about how to put event listeners, or what we call click listeners or select listeners, into our list view so that they respond to clicks and to those selecting a certain item in the list view. And on the third video, I made an introduction into how to put a search filter box in the action bar or the taskbar of the Android application. And it is also shown there how to put an icon instead of just the search word in your Android action bar or taskbar. However, I have not discussed there how to put a code so that when you type a letter or a word in the search box, the items in your list view would only reflect those that starts with a certain letter, or those that contains a certain letter or group of letters that you have typed or encoded into the search box. So we are discussing that here inside my patreon.com account. For you premium members of my tutorial, actually I only have one reward in this Patreon account, and that's for all of you. I consider all of you my premium members. I don't have a $1 reward. All of you are requested to support me at the amount that you have supported me, but in exchange for that, I deliver my best tutorial for you. So let's go ahead, and since this is my first video for this premium content, I made a little lengthy introduction. So let's dive in. So in order for you to select or filter the items in your list view, you have to configure onCreateOptions menu. This onCreateOptions menu had been generated as an override method as shown in the third video at YouTube in my Android Studio channel. So in order for you to configure the onCreateOptions menu, you create a menu item variable and link to item ID in search_menu.xml. Actually, you can name the search_menu.xml any name you want, but this is the name that I have made in my tutorial at YouTube. So let's go ahead and learn what I mean by this. So in your onCreateOptions menu, prior to the return statement, you should put this code. So you create a menu item object or variable, and you can name it actually whatever you want, but in this case I have named it search item, and then link that with the ID of the item block in your search_menu.xml. So equals menu.findItem r.id.search. So what do I mean by that? If I suggest for you that have not yet watched my YouTube video to watch that first, so that you are on board of what we are talking about here in this tutorial. And I have put a link to those videos in the description for this tutorial. So let's go ahead. So you have search_menu.xml, which is under your can be found in your rest folder, in a subfolder under your rest folder, in a folder named menu. And inside that folder named menu, we have this search_menu.xml, and this is the code we have there. And we have a menu tag there with an item inside it. And that item, this item is the one you see as the search filter, where we type our letters to search in the taskbar or action bar of the Android application that we are creating. So we have named it as search. We have assigned an ID, and we have the ID we have assigned is search. So here we are linking our menu item object or menu item variable into this item here, which we name search. So this is pretty self-explanatory for those that are already seasoned Android coders. But for those that are not yet seasoned Android Studio coders, this is standard item in Java, and what are we doing here is actually linking the items here, so that our code would be able to see each other. Okay, so let's go ahead. So number 2 step, don't worry if you don't understand immediately. This is a step-by-step tutorial, so you won't be lost because every step of the way is being shown to you. And we are gonna do this inside Android Studio IDE. After this presentation, we go hands-on. Okay, number 2 is create a search view variable or object and link to menu item variable. So the menu item variable is here in step 1, and we named it search item. So we are going to link to that search item variable. The variable being referred to here is the search item. So let's see what does that mean. So this is the one we created in step 1, and this is step 2. So we create a search view variable here, and we link that to search item, which is the menu item object. So this is the syntax for that: search view, open close parenthesis, and then menu item compat that get action view. So don't worry if you don't understand this thing. This is just standard syntax. Just type it in your Android Studio, and we won't be explaining this because these are standard functions and methods from Android SDK. So this is the syntax for it. Just follow this and everything will be okay. And then step 3 is to call set on query text listener through the search view variable or object you created in step 2. So what is the search view variable or object we created in step 2? So we named that search view. So be careful with the whether it's all caps or not. So here the letter B here is a capital letter. So this is the name of our search view here. Okay, so through that search view variable or object, we are calling the method through the set on query text listener through this dot here. So search view dot. Actually, if you do this after you type the dot, Android Studio would give you all the options, and you could just type set on, and set on query text listener would be one of the options that you would see. So just click on it, and then you would be given open and close parentheses. Okay, so after that, I think I missed a closing parenthesis here, so let's put it here. Okay, I believe that's the correct syntax. Okay, so in order at first there's no content here. You only have the open and the close parenthesis here. And in order for you to generate the rest of the code, actually there is the rest of the code below here, but I did not show it anymore because if you type it in Android Studio, just type new search view that on query text listener, then everything would be generated by Android Studio for you. So let's proceed. So now we shall be going directly into Android Studio to do the hands-on. Actually, there is a lot of code inside, but I'll be doing the explaining inside Android Studio itself. So this is the code, and don't worry if you don't have. This is sorry. I will be removing this. So this is the code in after we have done everything in video number 3 in my Android Studio channel at YouTube. You can watch that on the links I have provided in the description of that video. And the last step that we have made there is to generate the on create options menu. So we do that through here, generate, and then override method, and then on create options menu. So just click OK, and it's generated here. And actually it's not part of the presentation I have made for you, because we have already discussed that in the last video at YouTube, but I shall be showing it here because I have deleted the code. So the first thing that we do is to inflate or to link, because if we run this, there's no search there's no search yet in the action bar or the okay. So as you can see, there's no search filter yet here. We can click anything that would allow us to search, because we have not yet linked the search menu into our Java code. So we do that by inflating that search menu XML. So we do that through this code, get menu inflator dot. So we call the inflate method through the dot inflate, and then R means resource folder, and then here under the resource folder we have the menu folder. So after the dot we call the menu folder menu, and then we call our XML, which is here. So search menu.xml. So that's it. That's how we, and then we pass into it the here we make sure that we have this variable here as a parameter here. Okay, so that's it. If we run this code now, we would be able to see a search box or a search menu filter here. You see this, and we can type something here, but it doesn't function yet. So that's what we are going to do in the code that we are going to put after this. So now in step 1, our first step in the presentation is to create a menu item object or variable. So menu item. So we have named it in our presentation as search item. Search item equals menu that, meaning we find the item in the menu folder. So menu folder dot find item, and the item is r.id dot search, because this is the ID that we have we name it as search. That's the ID that we have passed into that XML code or that item tag. So that, and it's recognized here already. So just click it, and then we're done. Just put the semicolon, and then step 2. So this is step 1. So I just put the step here, so you can go back to the presentation. Actually, the presentation is also uploaded in this Patreon account of mine as a PDF file. So don't worry and going back to the video. You can always find it as a premium member, as a member of my patreon.com/Android Studio account. So we are now going into step 2, which is to create our search view object or variable. Search view. Okay, search view. And then we link that with our search item, which is a variable or object of the menu item type. So we do that by through this syntax search view, and then menu item since menu item since what we are calling is menu item, but I think the proper code, as I remember in our presentation, is menu item compat. Okay, menu item compat dot get action view. Actually, this get action view is deprecated, but it still works. I have not yet found any substitute for this. This still works. So, and then we pass here the name of our menu item object here, search item. So just copy that and paste here. Okay, and then we're done with step 2. And then step 3, which is to create our set or to create our on query text listener. So we do that by using our search view variable or object here. So copy that and then paste that set on query text listener. It's there. Just click enter and then call it with the new keyword new search view dot on query text listener. Set search view dot on query text listener, and we haven't yet finished typing and it's done for us. The structure of the code is done for us. So that's what's good with Android Studio. It's very helpful for us Android programmers. Okay, you're lucky because you're doing this inside Android Studio. Just imagine the difficulty for us older Android programmers when we are grappling with Eclipse before. Google have not yet released Android Studio in the past, about 5 years ago. So we have to use Eclipse, which is not really the official IDE of Google, but it supports Android programming during that time. So, okay, to proceed, what we need to configure is this public boolean on query text submit, and this one public boolean on query text change. So okay, sorry. We shall not be, we are just concerned with the on query text change because we are trying to do a filter, and since we are not submitting the text, we shall not be doing anything inside this on query text submit. So what we should do is to create a space inside this on query text change and put the return statement below. Okay, and change this return statement from false into true because it has to return something. If you don't change that to true, then our code won't work. Okay, so what we have to create first is that we have to create an array list. So array list of the string type. Okay, so like that, string, and then of course this should be just a temporary list or a query list, a result of the text change in our search box or search filter. So let's just call this filter list. Okay, and then new array list. Okay, so that's it. You won't be needing to pass any parameter inside this, so just semicolon afterwards, and then we create a for loop here. So for string, this string, we create a string variable here that is just temporary, that would contain the filtered portion of the list of countries here. So we have a country list here, which I called my country list, and this is the list of all the items that would be inside our list view. but we are going to filter this. So what would happen is, let's create a temp country list. Okay, this is just a temporary country list from my country list. Okay, so you're getting the sense of it, right? So open and close curly brackets there. Okay, and then inside that we create an if. So if the temp country list, so disregard the if in your mind first. So what we are doing here is the temp country list should be converted to, you can convert to lowercase everything or higher case. Let's just convert everything to lowercase, and then let me think a good Android programmer does not memorize things. You should be able to think while coding, so that that's the way of learning Android. You won't be able to memorize everything, but you should be able to think the logic of your code. So here what we are doing is to convert everything to lowercase, because what if the person doing the filtering has type it mixture of capital letters and small letters. So that we are able to easily filter, let's just convert everything to lowercase in our case here. And then that starts with meaning it starts with the text that you are typing into the filter menu. So the code here is new text. The new text is the one that you have typed into the filter box, or which is in the taskbar or action bar, and then also convert that into lowercase. So in here, the temporary country list from my country list that starts with this is also converted to lowercase. Okay, so that there is comparison. Okay, so that to lowercase. Okay, and then we create we put a code here. So what would happen if it starts with that? What would happen if they are a match? So what this code do is to check if there is a match, because it says starts with. So there's a match. What would happen? So the temporary country list should be added. Wait, I think okay, so the filter list, okay, sorry, filter list, this one in our, we add it to our filter list. Okay, this filter list would be the one to be shown in our filtered list. So filter list dot add whatever is inside our here temporary country list. This temporary country list is the one that has been filtered. So we, sorry, just copy that. This is the one that has been filtered through this statement, and we add that to the filter list, because the filter list would be the one to be shown in the items of the filtered list view items or data. Okay, so we now was able to create this array list. After we create this array list, then we have to put that data into the list view, the one that you could see. Okay, so we have a code for that when we created this array adapter for a list view, but let's just type it so that we get used to typing things. We should it's better for you as Android programmers to, especially the beginner ones, but the seasoned ones, it's okay if you copy because you already know what you are doing. But for beginner ones, it's good for you if you try to type things more. So we create an array adapter. This array adapter thing has also been mentioned in my first 3 videos at YouTube, which is a introduction to this premium video. So array adapter, and this is of the type string, and then let's name it just the same name that I have made above. So adapter equals new array adapter. Okay, and then I usually use get application context here, and then Android dot r, sorry, what's the proper code? Android dot r dot layout dot simple. I think I mix up something here. This should be small letter, okay? So Android, let's do it again so you can follow along. So Android dot r dot layout dot simple. Let's just use simple list item here. The same thing that I have used above, and we pass our filtered list. Filter list. I'd like to use a proper grammar here. So this is filtered list, okay? Because the list is already filtered. So filtered list. So we should use names that really reflect what is the data or the function purpose of that variable or that parameter. So it's easier to debug your code, okay? So this is the filtered list is now in our array adapter, and after that, it's not yet finished. We call the ListView object that we have above and substitute. Of course, when you first load, there's already values here, but we substitute this with the filtered list. So our list adapter should now obtain the data from the array adapter that got its data from the filtered list. So ListView here, then set adapter and pass this adapter that got its data from here, from the filtered list. Although I use the same name here, let's change this into adapter with filtered list. Quite long, but it makes sense to you as beginner programmers or as members of my Patreon account who watch this video in order to learn this concept. It's easier for you to understand if I use objects that really reflect what it's all about. So sorry that I use a longer name here. So copy that and pass this here. So the list view now is using this filtered list, okay? And then you return true, and then if you run this, we would already be able to filter our list view, okay? So let's test. I hope this works. So what you wanna do? I wanna see Canada, okay? Canada. Okay, correct. Our code works. I wanna see Philippines only. Okay, I wanna see United States. Okay, so what our code is doing is to only show the countries or items in our list that starts with what we have typed. Okay, but what about if you want what if so what our code is doing here is to show only those that has the same starting letters. For example, here, India and Indonesia both starts with I and N, so they're the ones being displayed. But what if I want to show all the countries that contain certain characters. For example, A, it's not shown, but actually India, United States, Germany, and Singapore both has A. So we have to change our code to reflect that. Let's go to the if inside our for loop. So it says here starts with. So I think there are other methods here. So what if contains? So let's try this contains, okay? And let's run our code. Okay. Let's test. I hope this works. Okay, what if I want those with letter A? So everything that has A. What if I want those with CA? So Costa Rica has CA, Canada has CA, and America has CA. So since it says contains, that contains, it means wherever this character is in, whether it's at the start, at the middle, or anywhere, as long as those items contains that, then it would be displayed. So it's really up to you whether to use that contains or that starts with, depending upon the functionality required by your project. But if you have a project that requires both, you could use something like this. Have something in here that radio buttons, 2 radio buttons, where you can shift between starts with and contains, so that you can choose. So your code would have both a code that says that starts with and a code that says that contains, and you are going to call that code depending on the radio button that was clicked here, if you have to provide for that radio button. So that's it. I hope you learned a lot from this video. The code for this project, this entire Android Studio code is also uploaded here in your Patreon account, and you can download this and just configure or use the code for your own project. And I also have provided a PDF file of the presentation and also a text file of all the codes. No, not a text file. I won't promise to provide a text file anymore, because I would be providing this Android Studio code for you, and you can just use it. Or I would also be, depending on the time that you have joined, maybe I already have a Git account where you can just download the code, so that you could easily configure and put that in your Android Studio IDE. So thank you for watching this video. I strive to provide great value, and I really hope that you have obtained great value from this video. If you have any comments where I can improve the presentation and the tutorials, you're free to send me your suggestions, and I will strive to provide more premium video like this. Just support me, continue to support me in this Patreon account. Thank you, and bye-bye.